So I am here with the last talk, and today we're talking about the fifth part of how to recover your health. And today we're talking about how to repair the gut. So we've talked about believing that it's possible to heal, committing to the process, removing the foods that hurt, replacing those foods with foods that heal, and today it is repairing the gut. And so we've already talked about the importance of food. Food is so important. It's like, if you have a diesel car and you put gas into it, you're just gonna have a car that doesn't function. You're gonna have to go pay a lot of money to fix that problem. And it's the same thing with the foods that we eat. We are designed to function best according to certain foods that we eat, and it may not manifest very quickly as it would for a car, but at some point it will manifest in disease. And we see that with cancers, we see that with high blood pressure, we see that with cardiovascular disease, that maybe it took many years for this to happen. And it just shows you how resilient the body is and how much the body wants to work really well. And that's just the way that God designed us. But how much better it would be if we ate the optimal way throughout our life and didn't have to deal with that, didn't have to go back and try to repair things. And so that's what I'm trying to share with you today. So we want to eat foods that are going to be the most anti-inflammatory. I believe that to be the plant-based diet. A plant-based diet is going to provide you antioxidants. It's going to provide you with also with fiber. You're not going to get that with any animal products. You'll only get fiber with plant-based foods. And the importance of that is that is what the good bacteria love. They love fiber. And so you can really change in a matter of a day or two. You can change your microbiome with the fiber that you eat. And some people call it a very fancy name. I think there are Stanford researchers who call it the microbiota accessible carbohydrate. So that's just a fancy word for fiber, okay? So fiber is the most potent way to positively impact your microbiome. The other thing that really helps is to be eating foods that are raw, because when you eat those raw foods, then you're gonna have bacteria, we call these probiotics. So when you eat probiotics, the idea is that you wanna eat live bacteria, and hopefully they will survive your stomach and get into your large intestine. But if you eat a lot of raw foods, you're going to be doing the same kind of thing. And raw fruits and vegetables have bacteria like Lactobacillus plantarum that can survive some of these more harsh environments and make it into the large intestine, which is exciting. You don't have to spend all that money on all those probiotics. And the other thing you want to do is you want to be eating the prebiotics, which, like I said, that's the fiber that feeds these bacteria and keep them happy. So depending on the food, or depending on the bacteria that you feed, you're going to have, it's going to determine the kind of microbiome that you have. So if you're feeding yourself tons of sugar and processed foods and all that kind of stuff, you're going to be killing your good bacteria because of all the, when you process food and you preserve it, those preservatives are going to basically kill off your good bacteria as well. So food and eating the prebiotics and the probiotics, very important. So apart from just the food itself, what else is important is how you eat. What circumstances are you eating under? Is it a stressful environment? What time of day are you eating? All of those things are very important. And I do cover them in this book. So I'd highly recommend that you get the book and look over the laws of digestion. When is it best to eat? All that kind of stuff. Now, so I've covered food, I've covered how to eat. And then the third thing is basically how to live, the laws of health in general. Because, you know, you can eat all the right food, you can eat at the right time and all of that stuff. But if you're somebody who has been struggling with, say, resentment, maybe against your parent or your brother, or something in your heart is still unresolved, you're still going to have health issues, because you know, those things are just as important as the food that we eat. And so I cover those laws of health also in the book. It's on the last part of the book. How to live. The laws of health, the laws of wholeness. There are 9 laws that have to do with the word wholeness. W is water, H is habits, O is oxygen, L is love. That's the part that has to do with the relationships between you and God, you and other people, you and yourself. That's where we talk about bitterness, resentment, all that kind of stuff. And then E is for environment, and that would have to do with like mold in the house, or you know, whether you're breathing a lot of fragrances and that kind of thing. And nutrition, we touched upon that. E for exercise, S for sleep, and the last S for sunshine, the 9 laws of health. So to review, we talked about the importance of foods. We've talked about the laws of how to eat, the laws of digestion, and then the laws of health, the laws of wholeness. And then the fourth thing to repair the gut would have to do with natural remedies. Now, the reason that natural remedies are very important is because, number one, they're super powerful. They work really well. Number two, they're super safe. And so you don't have to worry so much about these dangerous side effects with medications and that kind of thing. Now, you know, medications, even if they're not antibiotics, you know, when we talk about antibiotics, everybody knows they impact the microbiome, right? Because they kill good bacteria as well as bad bacteria. But what you might not be aware of is that medications in general are going to have an effect on the microbiome, even if they're not antibiotics. In fact, 1 out of every 4 different kinds of medications has a negative impact on the microbiome. So it's really helpful to learn natural remedies to help you so that you can minimize your dependence on medications. There's so much that you can do, even for very serious health conditions. You know, during the Spanish flu was the worst pandemic to ever hit this earth. They say anywhere from 25 to 50 million people died in a period of 1 year. It was a major thing. And that's why people are so scared about the flu. But during that time, we had some Adventist sanitariums that were treating people who had the flu and looking at their mortality rates, and their pneumonia rates, the mortality rates, all that kind of stuff. They saved hundreds of people's lives using just natural remedies. And this blows any vaccine out of the water, really. If you know how to live, if you know these natural remedies, you will do yourself and your family a huge service. Because, I mean, if you think about it, the way medicine is going nowadays is really not sustainable. It's super expensive. Not everyone can afford medications. And then you have all these side effects. You're going to need another medication. You're going to develop dependence and tolerance and all that kind of stuff. And so you want to learn to live in such a way that you can minimize your dependence upon these medications and recover from these diseases without needing to be on a medication. So natural remedies are super helpful. And then superfoods. There are certain foods that have just really, they have antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal properties. These are foods like turmeric and ginger and garlic and onions and these types of things that have just these amazing healing properties. So here are the 5 things to consider when you're trying to repair the gut. Making sure you have the proper nutrition, plant-based nutrition. Number 2, eating according to the laws of digestion. And number 3 would be living according to the laws of health and wholeness. Number 4 would be learning natural remedies. Number 5 would be to knowing how to implement superfoods. So these are the 5 things to do as far as repairing the gut in as holistic, natural, and organic a manner as possible. I hope that's helpful. And if you have any questions, please do ask. I have a group called Plant-Based Gut Health on Facebook. And I do have a PDF so that if you are interested in reading more about this subject, sign up to be on my email list, and I will send you that PDF. Okay, thank you, and thanks for watching.